Welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about 5 quick tips that will make you a better, safer and faster rider instantly. So stay tuned. Right, so one thing to remember is that motorcycles are made for a standard. It means that they're manufactured for some kind of average human, but none of us are really average humans, so bikes as they come from the factory, or maybe even pre-owned bikes, are set up either for this kind of average human or worse, for somebody else. So in these 5 tips I'm going to be discussing not only mods that you have to buy for your bike. Of course I'm discussing stuff that can be bought really on a budget and will make a huge difference, but also just simple modifications that by doing them you will be able to ride and enjoy your bike so much more. We all have these kind of days where we just feel out of tune with our motorcycle. The days that the riding just doesn't happen as we hope to, or that we just feel really disconnected from the bike. These kinds of inconsistencies are really common for new riders before they have got to know and really tune up the bike to their own riding style, their own body, their own experience. So stay tuned and let's discover these 5 tips that will make you a better, faster and safer rider instantly. Let's jump in. Right, so the first tip I want to be sharing with you is how to get your tires right. Tires will make such a huge difference in your riding because they're really the only thing that connects your bike to the ground, so they have to be on point. And when I say on point, I don't mean you have to get the best tire out there. I'm saying that you have to get the best tire for your application. That means if you want to go to the track, you have to get a track-specific tire or a sporty road tire, and if you want to go touring, you have to get a touring tire. But most important thing is that your tires are fresh, not consumed all the way, and that you are running correct tire pressures. The track is a whole different story, but as long as you're going on the road, run the manufacturer's recommended tire pressure. You'll find it either in your bike owner's manual or printed somewhere on the bike, maybe on the rear swing arm or under the frame. Adjust the bike to you, to yourself, to your body type, to your riding style. It's one of the most important things because, as I said, bikes are made to a standard and they cannot be individually tuned to every customer. So it's our job. One of the most common things is the brake and clutch levers, and they usually are positioned in kind of an awkward, weird position that will make your hands numb. And this happens because your hand is tilted up in order to reach the lever. So one thing that you can do is really easy. You just loosen the bolts on the lever attachments and you pivot them forward in order to make a single straight line from your shoulder to the tips of your fingers. Now, if you're on a sports bike, this line may be more horizontal because of the riding position. If you're on a naked bike, it can be a more diagonal downward line because you're sitting straight up on the bike. One other thing that you might want to do if you have clip-on handlebars, you might want to open them up a little bit, but be careful to close them according to torque spec. And if you open them up a little bit, it will make it easier for you to control your bike, both on track and on the road. Tip number 3, the foot pegs. Well, while we adjust our arms and hands, we also should adjust our legs and feet because these are other very important anchoring points that we have on the bike. So not everybody has the same length of leg or the same height or the same kind of feet, so you really should position the foot pegs accordingly, both to your body type and to your riding style. Now, if you want to have a more comfortable, relaxed position and your bike has adjustable foot peg mounts, you can slide them a little bit forward. If you want a sportier and more in control position, you might want to slide them a little bit backwards and upwards. If you don't have adjustable foot peg positions on your bike, you can buy little adjustable plates onto which you will bolt your stock foot peg. I've linked them down below. Or you can get full aftermarket setup. They're called the rear set or track rear set, and I suggest you get the ones that flip up because if you hit them with your leg or if you fall, they will just fold over and not drag on the ground. Tip number 4. Get your suspension straight. Now, when I mean to get your suspension straight, first of all, I mean that your suspension has to be in good running condition, because it sometimes happens that bikes that are 5, 10 or 15 years old have the original suspension oil inside of them and their suspension has never been serviced. Most people won't open the suspension unless it starts leaking oil, and that's bad, that's really bad. Get your suspension serviced, make sure it's in good running condition, and then adjust it to your weight and to your riding style. This is very important because a poorly set up suspension will affect every aspect of your ride. If you can't seem to get into the corner, or if your bike is wiggly when you get out of the corner, it's probably a fault of the suspension if you know that you have your tires right. So, get the suspension serviced and get the sag, at least the sag, set to your body weight. Now, most suspension will have at least the spring tension adjustment, which is the sag that we're talking about, and some of them will have a hydraulic suspension adjustment. Now, if you want to upgrade your suspension, there is probably an endless possibility of different suspensions, shocks, valves, cartridges to choose from. Now, if you have a traditional not upside down fork, there is a little budget mod that I run on my SV650 that basically imitates the function of the hydraulics in an upside down fork. I've linked it down below. It's a very nice little mod that you can get for your bike on a budget. Tip number 5. Tank grip pads. Now, we've talked about the main points of contact that we have with the motorcycle: our hands, our feet, and our thighs. Basically, the inner parts of our thighs are the most important anchoring point that we have on the bike. We use them to grip the tank and support all our body during braking, cornering, and acceleration. Clasp the tank with your legs every time that there is any kind of force applied to you, so you don't have to use your hands and arms and don't get tired while riding your bike. So, for sports bikes, of course, it is essential to put the tank grip pads in order to be able to grip well on the track or during sports riding. And for touring riders, it's also very comfortable to be able to support yourself and the body during braking or acceleration. It will make you less tired and will make journeying fun and more easy. So these grip pads are actually pads made from transparent or black plastic. It's kind of a rubbery silicone kind of material, and they keep you from slipping. Really simple fix and a huge difference. So check out down below, I've linked some of them. They're made both in universal shapes, or they can be also found in special cutout for each bike model. Highly recommend it. And yeah, that sums up 5 tips. Okay, bonus tip. Get your gear right. And what I mean by getting your gear right is that your gear should not impede you from riding your bike. A jacket that's too tight, or pants that will stop your movement, a leather suit that you cannot breathe in, or a helmet that you cannot see out of are really bad choices if you want to ride bikes. So take it from me, learn from my mistakes, learn from my experience, and get your gear fitted correctly. Now, a really good tip is to go into a motorcycle gear shop and try out as many things as you can in order to find the things that you feel best in. So if it's a leather suit, make sure you're not impeded in your movements. Same goes for pants and jackets. Make sure that in the riding position your movements are free and you are free to control the bike and concentrate on riding instead of concentrating on that thing that's uncomfortable around your shoulder maybe. Also, make sure that your helmet has a good field of view in the riding position. It will really depend on your bike. If you have a sports bike, you want a good upward field of view. If you're riding a naked bike, you will want a good downward field of view for road use, as well as make sure that your helmet doesn't smash into your aerodynamic hump in the rear. So that's it from me today. Thanks a lot for stopping by. I hope you've learned something useful from this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe so we can see each other again, and check the links in the description below for some of the gear that I've been talking about. Until next time, ride safe!